Welcome to the United States of Paranormal Podcast. Sit down and buckle up for an enlightening ride through everything cryptid, creepy, and paranormal.
Welcome back, all you hitchers and drifters, to the United States of Paranormal Podcast, your weekly road trip through all things cryptid, creepy, and paranormal. This is Logan.
Hey, it's Matt.
And without someone pointing at him, Brandon forgets to say it's Brandon. Hey, Boze.
What up?
Yeah, we're doing this a little different than we normally do. We're actually all at our separate homes because we just couldn't make it work this week. So this is a little different. I'm used to being able to see everybody. So
I
hence
know.
Brandon missing his cue.
Normally
I give everybody finger guns to let them know that it's their turn to say their name.
It's really weird and awkward at times.
What, the finger guns?
Yeah, like.
Well, clearly it's fucking needed because, you know, we've been doing this for almost a year and it goes me, Matt, then you, and Matt said his name and you just sat there, so.
And he's just sitting there now.
Yeah, yep. Well, on the bright side, he's the one telling the case this week, so, I mean, there won't be a lot of dead air coming from him because he's going to be the one telling the story. How has everybody's week been? We'll start with you, Matt.
Oh, man, I have been just, this is good and bad, but I've just been incredibly busy. I mean, I was out of town on Friday for work. I was working last night. I just one thing after another. But hopefully that means upward trends, professionally speaking.
Nice. Yeah, dead air. Dead air. This is, I don't know how people do this. This is weird without reading people's social queue. How was your week, Brandon?
Yeah, my car broke down.
Fair.
So
It's
nothing
fair.
new.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be like a $1,500, $2,000 fix.
Well, you hear that, fans? Brandon's having some car issues, so if you want to buy a T-shirt, Brandon gets a very small portion of that.
That's not true. We don't get any portion of any of that. All that money
no.
all the money we get from merch sales goes towards artwork and other stuff for the channel right now. We do not make enough money to justify skimming off the
Calories.
top. Yeah.
They didn't know that, Matt. I was trying to sell T-shirts.
It's fine. Listen, if you want to support the repair of his car, just sign up for his OnlyFans.
Or have Brandon sign you up for an internet contract, right? That's how that
No.
works.
It can only be on one of my 500 addresses I have.
Oh, well, if anybody's listening and they're in Brandon's one of 500 addresses that he has, hit him up.
This could be your opportunity.
So, like, you broke down in the same gas station that you've broken down in multiple times?
Oh, no, only one other time.
I was
Okay.
saying this the other night. I am incredibly impressed that every time he breaks down, it's at a gas station.
This is where he kills his car. That's where he turns it off. He's going to do his pee breaks because he's out on the road, and he shuts it off, and it doesn't want to start back up, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, this last time I put the starter in, started the car up, and was just listening. I'm like, man, that's a weird grinding sound.
Ew, it's never good to hear
And
grinding
then
noises.
next thing I know, smoke started coming from underneath the engine bay, which I assume was the new starter that I put in after about a minute of it running. So
What starter number is this one?
5.
Jesus Christ.
He's really putting that lifetime warranty to the test.
Yeah, they're no longer going to offer it after dealing with Brandon. They're like, no, you get 2 at max. It's called the Brandon clause.
Yeah. It looks like my flywheel is bad. So at first I thought it was an electrical issue. Now it looks like it's an actual engine issue. Which, of course, to get the flywheel out, they have to pull the transmission out. So that's going to be an expensive fix.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fun.
Yep.
Well, any good stuff happen this week for anybody, or?
I, today, while I was shopping at HEB, this is the food podcast portion of this podcast, I found HEB has this flavor of chip that's ghost pepper ranch.
Oh yeah, I've had. They've done it in different types. I think I've had like the regular potato chip one.
Yeah, I think that's what this is. They have thin in big ass letters on the bag.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I said it once. I've said it before. I'll say it again. HEB, man, their HEB branded stuff is really fucking good.
Yeah, for the most part it is. I got Carolina Reaper Cheetos, not the poofs, but the little crunchy ones. HEB brand the other day. They're pretty solid. If anything, they have too much seasoning because it's like there's so much cheesy seasoning on it that it like I can only eat a few because I'm like, this is too rich.
Yeah, I understand. We got a mixed bag of chips, or a mixed box of like little individual bags of chips, and it has HEB branded cheese balls in it, and
It's just cake with cheese flavor. It's just like on there. Yeah.
It is super, not necessarily in a good way. It's like you have one of those bags and you're satisfied because you don't want, like, it's one of those things where like I cannot have too much of this flavor in one sitting.
Yeah, I feel you. I usually eat like a handful of those Cheetos and roll it back up and throw it back on top of the fridge.
Oh yeah.
Mystic Nights of Terror. God damn it! I told you that song was gonna be stuck in my head. Trying to think. We were just at HEB. It was so fucking crowded the other day. It was ridiculous. I feel like Call Guys, because Gunner was one of like Chico is one of the like really chill people, but like he went off on a tangent of one Call Guys episode about people that stop in the middle of an aisle at a grocery store.
Oh yeah.
With their cart, like not one side or the other, just smack dab in the middle with their cart. And that was everywhere at HEB. It was packed to the gills and everybody was just stopping in the middle of the aisles, the sections outside aisles, just stopping.
Yeah, I wanna know what goes through people's fucking heads when they're at the grocery store. Like, how can you be that utterly oblivious to the other people around you? Like, show some courtesy, people.
Well, especially with the big HEB in Beaumont, like a good chunk of those food aisles have structure poles in the middle of the aisle that cuts up space too already. So then you got people standing right in the middle aisle next to that, so there's literally no getting around them. You're just like, what the fuck?
It should be socially acceptable to kick people at the grocery store.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. I mean, usually I stop at that HEB during my lunch break at work, which is 11 o'clock, so it's never really busy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I go there on the weekend, it's always fucking jarring because I'm not used to it being shoulder to shoulder dipshittery.
Yeah, my wife, she used to work at the Beaumont HEB. I know you know this, but this is information for the listeners.
Yeah, and doxing his wife now.
I'm not doxing my wife. But she recently changed to the HEB that's closer to my house, and she was super excited about how not busy her new store is.
That one in Beaumont's always slammed. That main one, it's always steadily busy. Especially the meat department. I don't think I ever go out there and don't see people restocking shelves over there.
Oh yeah. Well, that was the problem she was having. That's why she ended up getting transferred, is because she's supposed to be learning more management stuff as she is getting ready to be moved up to the next management role. And she couldn't learn all the stuff she needed to because it was just non-stop restocking the meat.
Yeah, I can feel that. I mean, hell, I was there the other day and I normally get the HEB meat there when I do stuff because like they got a good meat department. But I end up having to buy some like more expensive like name brand venison because they were all sold out of the venison that like they ground in store.
Mm-hmm.
And which it's like I was getting less venison for more money by doing that, so I was a little sad.
Oh yeah. Oh, speaking of meats, another thing that happened this week that I'm personally excited about is we just bought a meat grinder for our stand mixer.
Nice. I have one of those.
Yeah,
I've also got I've got a hand crank meat grinder that I fucking installed on my fucking in my kitchen. I have a I mean, what would you call it? Just a fucking tool chest on wheels.
It's a tool chest.
Yeah, on wheels that I put in my kitchen for all my cooking utensils. And the first thing I did was fucking install a meat grinder to the top of it.
I'll tell you what, that thing's doing that's becoming more and more popular in a lot of kitchens.
I just fucking, the only bad part about it is it's great being able to grind your own stuff, especially if you want to do like different like ratios for burgers and stuff.
Yeah,
But
that's what I use mine for.
they are just a motherfuck to clean though. Like at least the hand crank ones, because you got to take it apart, and then usually they're fixed to a surface for the most part, and you have to get in there and just clean the absolute shit out of it.
If you want it to not be a nightmare to use, it's got to be affixed to a surface. I remember when you first got yours, you made burgers for all of us, and it was a hell of a time grinding the meat on that thing because it wasn't mounted yet.
Yeah, because I hadn't mounted it yet. I was like, I want to use it, but I hadn't screwed it down yet. But yeah, after you screw it down, it's great. It's just like I said, cleaning those things is a nightmare, which also kind of pushes you to use it less than you would want to, because you're just like, oh yeah, it'll be great, but then I gotta clean it and it's gonna be awful. So,
yeah, with one we have, it's all driven by the stand mixer, so we don't have to clean it. We can just take it off and put it in the sink and hand wash it. Fortunately, we haven't used it yet, and I was asking my wife. I was wondering because I was curious on if it would be a cheaper option to use that and make your own ground meat. And I was like, hey, so is this going to be a cheaper way to make ground meat, or is this just going to be a better quality of ground meat type scenario? And she was like, oh no, you're not going to get it for cheaper by grinding the meat yourself.
Yeah, not really. Yeah. But usually a lot of places grind up stuff that like doesn't look super, like the cut ended up not looking as pretty as they'd want, so they're just like throw that one in that and mark it lean, this or that.
Or it's just the leftovers from cuts.
Yeah. But I have that mixer, and I was making I finally got my meatball mixture like the exact way I like it, and I was thinking to myself, like, I could throw this in there and I wouldn't be having to be wrist deep in fucking 3 pounds of meat here mixing all this stuff. But then I was like, no, I'll deal with the messy hands over cleaning that bitch out. So,
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I recently, just this week, I after I got my meatball mixture like a month ago down to exactly what I liked, I was like, oh man, I love meatball subs, but like a good meatball sub with big meatballs is like a pain in the ass to eat because it's hard to get it in your mouth, and like it's just a big mess. So I've made my full batch of meatballs, and I made patties out of some of it, and then the rest I made into smaller meatballs and put in the freeze. But so instead of having like a meatball sub, I had a meatball patty that I put like the cheese on and stuff on, and just made it way more easier to eat. It was really good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, that was my food segment there. Fucking meatballs and being sad that I had to buy more expensive venison to go in my fucking meatballs.
I hear they were good though.
Yeah. Who? Oh, yeah, that's right. Kane had a sub back when I made the sub last. Is that who was talking about it?
I think so.
Yeah, because he's the only other person I've fed. I usually, if I have extra food, I'll go kick his door and just hand him a plate, and then he'll usually like, I just ate, and I'm like, I don't give a shit.
I know. That's the one thing I'm jealous of Kane for. He's close enough to get random Logan meals.
Yeah, he always looks bewildered when I knock on his door. But I'll tell you what, he cleans a plate real quick and brings it back to you. And then he'll text you like 40 minutes later, be like, hey, I just want you to know I just ran water over that. Put some soap on it. Like, okay. I'm trying to think if there's any movie news or anything before we get into it. I know they finally it's been almost a decade since they announced it. They finally started filming the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Blumhouse finally got people on set and started filming, and we got what's his name? He was in the Hunger Games, and he's in that show where he time travels via duffel bag.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think
he was the baker.
Yeah,
he was the baker in Hunger Games, and he was in Zathura when he was younger.
Never saw that movie.
Josh something. Why is Josh Hutcherson popping in my head? I think that might be. I mean,
you're right. It's Josh Hutcherson.
Damn, look at that. And then we've also got they casted Josh Hutcherson as the main security guy that's going to be having the problems, and then Matthew Lillard, Shaggy himself, is playing Afton, Purple Man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him in a fucking movie. He always fucking kills it.
Yeah, man, I'm really curious to see how they do that.
Well, it's Blumhouse, so I would be absolutely fucking surprised if it didn't catch R, you know?
Yeah.
Because Blumhouse isn't gonna. I mean, it's tricky because this is a franchise that now kids fucking love, so kids are gonna want to see it. But also, you announced this movie 10 years ago, so a lot of that audience that you were originally buying that IP for are probably legally allowed to go watch R-rated movies in theaters now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited for it. I honestly started to think that it was never going to happen with how long it's taken, because they've had to, when the dude that owns Five Nights originally set that out, he made sure in that contract that he got final say so on the script, like 100%. So he is shit on a lot of scripts, and a lot of directors have left because of that. So
I think that's something we're starting to see a little bit more and more of, with people controlling their IPs and refusing.
Well, yeah, because
creative change.
You get your IP out there, and like most of these people, like their main goal was when they sell that is like, hopefully this blows up, my IP gets a bunch of movies, and then maybe a few years from now they'll reboot it because it was so popular, or we'll get a TV show, right? So if the wrong company gets your IP and they deviate from the source material so bad that it does so bad that no one is ever going to want to touch that IP again as far as movies, you're screwed.
Yep. Speaking of horror productions, I finally got to finish watching the first episode of Last of Us.
Out time.
I still ain't fucked with it, but you know me,
Yeah.
I haven't played any of the games, so all I've heard is good stuff. And they had Homeboy on Saturday Night Live this week.
Oh, the Mario Kart skit.
Yeah, I saw that today. It was fucking hilarious. Their budget for the background scenery on that was pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, they probably put a lot of money into that skit. But I mean, they brought on, a big actor to be a part of it and stuff. So it makes sense that that's where they put a lot of budget into.
Dude's in everything. He was Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Last of Us. I mean,
it started with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he deserves to blow up. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Everything he's done, he's just been incredible.
He was also in sorry, what's the name of that? It was the second Kingsman film.
Yeah, he was one of the American dudes.
Yeah, and that one was real. Like, his whole motivation was really sad.
I really liked those movies. I didn't watch the newest one because it went like prequel shit and kind of deviated from like the whole reason a lot of people like those movies.
Yeah, I tried to watch the prequel film on a plane and I could not get into it.
Yeah, I actually haven't watched any of them yet.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch.
He was also in DC too, because he was in the second Wonder Woman movie as
oh yeah, he was.
Lord. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, right. Those are a perfect parody of the spy genre. It's one of those things where it's so good, it very much stands on its own outside of being a parody.
Okay. No, I've been meaning to check them out. I just don't ever think about it.
There. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I knew him in, but it seems like most of the stuff he was in before he got big was a bunch of shows that he was like one-offs in or something. Like, it looks like he did a few roles in The Good Wife and Burn Notice, Charlie's Angels, like CSI. Like, he did a bunch of like crime procedurals before he hit Game of Thrones, where he did 7 episodes, and then after that he just kind of blew up. He did voicing in Dishonored 2, which is a video game. So Narcos.
I will say Last of Us, I know people who like are older people and have never played a video game, and they are all watching Last of Us and really enjoying it.
I mean, like, it's one of those things, like, I've never played it, but I know the story of Last of Us, and it's one of those things that transitions really well.
Yeah.
You also got to think about all these people that are watching this are also the kind of people that fucking ate up The Walking Dead, and that was a comic book IP.
Yeah.
It's just those apocalypse scenarios. People like that shit. I mean, it wasn't even 10 years ago when like every other show that was coming out on network television was apocalypse themed shows, like the 100 and like all these other shows where it's like this has happened, an EMP happened, and now it's just this, or now it's this, and just it was a big thing for a while there.
Oh,
Hell,
yeah.
they had that reality show that was on, I think, Sci-Fi, that was dope as shit, where they took a bunch of people and put them in an apocalypse scenario, and it went like 2 seasons. That was a solid watch.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of that show. I never watched any of it because I
I
don't
watched
like reality
both seasons of
TV.
it.
But I know what you're talking about. But yeah, our biggest problem trying to watch it is just we have a 2-year-old, and we had such a hard time getting him to go to sleep for a while because he was afraid of monsters. Last thing I want to do is to sit him in front of something where he's going to see some real ass fucking monsters.
What was that? Our friend Joel made a comment on something like that the other day. He was here, and he was like, I just realized that your kids aren't going to be scared of shit because they go to bed with their door open and you can see a 7.5 foot tall killer clown and Sam from Trick or Treat just standing outside their door. I was like, yeah, and they also give them hugs before they go to bed sometimes. So
Oh, I wish I could get my kid to do that, but he
yeah, like, condition them at an early fucking
Yeah.
age.
But luckily, so he went to town with his grandma today for a little while, so that's how we watched most of it. And then we had about 15 minutes left by the time he came back. And fortunately, I've played the game, so based on what I knew
Noises?
of the game, I was able to determine, like, okay, these last 15 minutes, they should only be dealing with people and not monsters. So I think we're good to let it go and finish the episode.
In that first episode, you didn't really see any of the monsters anyway.
No, you only really see one up close.
Yeah.
And that's two up close.
and it's
two up close in the first episode. One.
Yeah, and they're not like full blown yet. Like they're still.
Well, no, the second one is, but the first one that you see up close. Okay, so you see 3 really. There's one at the very beginning, which is like your first chance seeing one. Then there is one that chases them for a minute in the intro, like the first half hour, and then there's one more in the super late stage of infection where they kind of fuse to a wall. And those are the 3 you see in the first episode. And then again, based on knowing the game and knowing where they were, like in that story, I was like, okay, they're not going to get to the part where there's a bunch of these. I don't remember if they call them. I don't remember what they call them in the game. Aside, I know what clickers are. Were they all? They weren't all called clickers. Maybe they were. I really don't remember. But I knew when they were going to get to the part that would have them start really showing up in force, and so I knew it was safe to finish the episode out. But I just wish I could watch horror stuff with him around, but I know it would fuck him up.
Well, it's doing makes me a little less nervous about the BioShock film adaptation they're going to be doing, but it's also Netflix that's doing it, so
it's hit or miss.
it can go either way.
Yeah,
but,
sometimes Netflix does amazing shows. Sometimes they make garbage.
yeah, so I'm still a little worried because if I'm gonna, it's like Halo. We waited so long, and then when we got it, it was what it was. And then Rapture's another one of those video game lands that I've always wanted to see live action, but I just don't want it because it's like we just talked about. If they fuck it hard enough, it's not going to be coming back. But as I say that, we have Resident Evil that went like 8 movies long. Then they did the TV show and a new movie relaunch all at the same time, and I think all of those whiffed it, and they're probably still going to make more of those. So
True.
So the only live action I'm really looking forward to from Netflix is the One Piece live action.
I don't know enough about Rubber Boy Pirate to check it
He's
out. All I
not
know
rubber.
is he's magic. I know. Magic Fruit Boy. We have a friend that has worshipped at the altar of One Piece since I met him, and that's all I know is via Caleb.
Ditto. I don't watch the show on principle.
I mean, even if I wanted to, it's so far in manga wise and show wise to like it would take fucking forever to catch up.
Well,
So,
not necessarily. You can get it done in like a month, but
I'm good.
What I recommend people do is don't actually watch the anime. There is a fan edit where they cut out like all the extra crap. And One Piece is actually low on filler, but the problem is they reuse a lot of footage for the anime and they extend things out a lot, so it makes the pace of the anime feel really bad. But there's a good fan edit called One Pace where they cut it like they'll cut down an entire arc that's like 100 something episodes to
So it's
like
the same shit they did with Dragon
30
Ball Kai
episodes.
back in the day, where they're like, we cut out all the filler shit.
Yeah, but this is done by fans and not like the actual creators.
Where they
And
made
like,
Mr. Popo blue.
and like I said, One Piece isn't a show where you're watching it for like one story. You're watching it for like each individual arc. So it's like you can watch the first arc of One Piece on its own and the second arc, and like they all have like their own cohesive story, and they're all incredible.
I mean,
And,
I would
like, they
hope
just
an
get
art
better.
will have a cohesive story.
I'm good. I'm constantly already like, there's not a lot of stuff like ongoing we're watching. Like right now, I'm watching. Kayla got me to watch Bob's Burgers, and I'm loving it. And we're only like 4 seasons in. And I was like, how many seasons is there? And she's like, I think like 14. I was like, well, goddamn, awesome. And I just saw in the news they got renewed for 2 more seasons. So I was like, yeah, it's fuck it, righteous.
Yeah, that's a great, really dumb show.
So
It's like it's nice because it's an animated family, and it doesn't go to that trope that every other animated family goes with, where they all basically hate each other.
Yeah.
It's like this show, they all like each other to a fault. So I dig it. Like I said, I don't have a bunch of shows I'm watching right now, but I'm always watching like Super Sentai stuff and rewatching certain things. And King Oger is about to start next month, so I'll be watching that weekly.
Mhm.
Well, like what got me into One Piece was like I was a lot of the book YouTubers I watched were all of a sudden they were like their fans were pushing them into manga, and finally they like several of them at once just started going over One Piece, and it's like every single one of them as soon as they started reading the books or going through the anime, all of them cohesively like, yeah, this is the best fantasy world ever devised.
I just
Like,
don't.
this
I've
is
never
one
been
of the
a big
best
anime
stories.
person myself. I mean, especially in our group of friends, I fall off the chart compared to all of them pretty hardcore, because I've watched most of the generic anime that American kids are expected to have seen, like Dragon Ball Z and all that. But like outside of that, I've tried to watch Cowboy Bebop multiple times, which is it is a great show, what I have seen, but I always end up falling asleep. That fucking smooth jazz, dog. They'll just put me down.
Yeah, I'd say there's better anime.
I've watched
now.
stuff like some movies. Like I love Summer Wars. I think that's a fantastic movie. But outside of that, I've just never been a big anime person outside of like Pokemon and Digimon and the generic ones.
Yeah,
Which Summer Wars is
Yeah.
basically Digimon.
Summer Wars was great. But that ironically, I do fucking ingest an unhealthy amount of Japanese live action shows like Super
Yes, but-
Sentai and
I'm about to say you can't complain about One Piece being long when you watch how many fucking seasons of Super Sentai?
Well, they're all different.
Yeah,
It's
but
like
I
watching
mean, that's
different anime.
I have watched 45 seasons out of 46. I hadn't watched this new season because they got that. I'll get around to it eventually, but they added those 2 CGI Rangers in the Sentai this year, and them fuckers are hard to look at. So
how many
I just
episodes of
haven't-
Super Sentai are there?
Each
At least
season?
3.
I honestly I couldn't tell you.
2,260 episodes.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
It
A lot of
happens.
entertainment.
Look, I'm just saying you can't complain about One Piece's like length when there is 1,200 more episodes, nearly 1,300 more episodes of Super Sentai. God damn, that's a lot.
it happens. It's all right. But anyways, Boze, you got a story for us? They say after we're probably like 30 minutes into us just fucking gabbing like always.
Yeah, I guess I got a story.
Almost exactly at 30 minutes. We're just a few seconds short.
We're not in the market of you guess you have a story. I mean, if you don't have a story, we don't have a podcast, dog.
You act like we have a podcast.
According to Apple Podcasts, we do, and that's all I need. We even have an Audible listener.
We do have an Audible listener, although he's questionable. Yeah, no, so I pulled a little story. Have either of you two read the name somewhere, Ronald Doe?
I cannot say I have.
I am familiar
All right,
with
what-
Ronald McDonald.
Okay,
Also
what about
scary.
William Peter Blattley?
No.
No.
All right. Well, so this is William Peter Blattley, like basically in 1949, read some obscure news article from Missouri, and he wrote a book called The Exorcist based on that article.
Nice.
Not familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Not a lot of people saw that movie.
Well, honestly, Matt's probably never seen Exorcist, so
How have you not seen The Exorcist?
because he doesn't watch horror.
Yeah, dog. You grew up in the same house as me?
You have a film degree and you haven't watched The Exorcist?
Correct.
Let's not get hoity-toity here. It's fine.
Yeah, you pompous dick.
Let's watch. We'll just add it to the thousands of movies that we say we'll watch and we never watch.
Like episode 3 of Haunting on Hill House.
Episode 2, wasn't it? Did we get
No,
two episodes in?
3.
I thought we watched
made it
2
to
episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, by the time we get round to it, you guys just gonna have to fucking rewatch it again.
And then we'll watch the first 2 episodes and not get back to it for another year.
Anyhow, guy, Exorcist. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, he read a news article that was just obscure, that just didn't go into too much detail. And so he wrote The Exorcist, which is the book that the movie is based on. Well, a few years ago, one of the priests who actually performed the Exorcist ritual, he passed away, and his diary was released. And it actually went into details about the whole story of what happened, because for a long time it was a mystery, like what was going on, like what inspired the movie, what was the real story, because there's no records of the family. They all used different like pseudonyms and stuff, so then like there's no records of their exorcism that can be found. But in this diary, they refer to this kid who was possessed as Roland Doe, and that's like the common name that people know this by. So he was born in 1939 in Missouri, and our real story actually takes place when he was 13 years old, where he was living just outside of Georgetown. Now, Roland, from all descriptions, like he couldn't focus. He was a troublesome, hyper kid. Like he was a bit of a bully from what people know. Like he was a weird kid. So he didn't really have like a lot of friends, according to what everyone was saying. But the one person who he did hang out with was his Aunt Tilly. And Aunt Tilly had a particular hobby with messing with the supernatural.
Good hobby to have. I mean, she could have crocheted or anything like that, but fuck with supernatural. That's fine.
Yep, she liked to try and talk with spirits, and guess what she had?
Ouija board.
iPhone.
Okay, yeah, they had iPhones in 1949. Yes, she had a Ouija board, and one of their favorite hobbies was to try talking to spirits. Well,
We judge people for the Ouija board things, but we also got to remember that there's a major board game company that also sell kids toys that package that bitch up and distribute it at Walmart. So, and it has been since like the fucking 50s.
And they also make shitty Power Ranger toys.
Yes, they do. Fuck, that's perfect. Yeah. That's neither here nor there.
yeah. So once they started doing that, his mother started hearing like scratching sounds in their walls, and they're thinking it's mice. So the father then starts pulling up like the floorboards trying to see evidence of mice. He's not finding anything. He calls an exterminator. Exterminator couldn't find anything. And so the family was thinking it was just Roland acting up because, he was a shit kid. and they thought he was just trying to like annoy him, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, 11 days after they started hearing these scratching sounds, Aunt Tilly died.
Damn,
of
the
course,
rats
like
came for.
Oh man, you say that, but I watched one of those. Guillermo del Toro has that horror series on Netflix, and one is about rats. And like you said, the rats came for Aunt Tilly, and it just gave me PTSD flashbacks. I was like, no,
Oh,
graveyard rats, man, it's not good. Poor Aunt Tilly.
yeah. So I'll give you
Rip.
each a guess on what Roland did after Aunt Tilly died.
Took her iPhone.
Got out the Ouija board and tried to communicate with her.
Yep. And so again, that was like the closest person to him in the world, right? Like that was his best friend, was his aunt. And of course, after he tried communicating with her, they started hearing those sounds, but they started getting much louder. They started hearing like stompings and stuff like that. And it was all focusing around Roland. And one day, Roland and his mother were in his room, and it got really loud and obnoxious. So, of course, what does his mother do? And we've seen this several times before.
Ignores it.
We wouldn't have a story if she did. She asked, "Are you Aunt Tilly?" Knock 3 times if yes.
So, okay, so at this point, it can either be one of 3 things. It is actually rats. It is the paranormal, and it's probably demons. Or it's perverted wall boys.
All seemingly just as plausible.
Well, no. You know what? I'll take rats over the latter of the other 2 any day, though.
I don't know. Rats are fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's better than a perverted wall boy that wears your mother's clothes and comes at you with an axe.
Yeah, but he got arrested, right? That goes away.
Yeah, and then remember, Brandon, how that story ended? He got out and murdered a pregnant woman and her kids.
You know what? You know what you can do to get rid of perverted wall boy? The same way you get rid of rats. You fumigate the house.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that'll show.
That's fair.
You know what's going to be easier to clean up? Perverted wall boy.
Yeah, no, that's true. Those rats tend to scatter and burrow in when they get poisoned. Perverted rat boy, you'll just hear a big thud.
There's a lot more questions though when you fumigate perverted rat boy.
I found this in my wall. I just put him in the perverted rat boy pile.
Do I bury it?
Nah, just leave him in the wall. He'll stop smelling after a little while.
That's the kind of shit that a tabloid would be like, here's our big scoop, finally a true story, and nobody believes them.
Yep. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, so of course, she names it. The ghost obviously knocks 3 times, and so they're thinking it's Aunt Tilly at this point.
When are people gonna learn? Just because the ghost does the better option that you gave it, ghosts are like people, man. They lie.
Yeah, no demon's gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm a demon.
Demon's like, oh, she got me. She gave me the old knock 3 times with Aunt Tilly. I'm just gonna knock once. Fuck, she got me.
You know you have to tell me if you're a demon, right?
That's the law. You have to tell me if you're a demon or a cop. He's like, I'm neither.
Oh shit, I'm both.
Oh no, it's demon cop.
Oh man. And of course, now that they personified the demon, it starts getting worse, right? So, like I said, this is all focusing around Roland for the most part because he's the one who used the board. But Roland would start hearing like squeaking sounds on his mattress at night. And then the family said they found scratch marks all over the mattress.
So ghosts are having kinky sex on his bed while he's in it.
That's what it sounds like to me. That's what I got from the story.
Either that or rats are banging on his bed while he's sleeping.
Either way, he's being third wheeled.
Yeah, either way, it's not great. At that point, I would think I would take the spirit sex over rat sex on my bed, though. That's the few times where I'll opt into spirits over the latter half there.
So the family called their local Lutheran priest, Reverend Shorts. he did the obvious priestly thing and invited the kid to
Oh,
stay the
I
night
about
at
made a
his house.
comment. Yeah, oh, you beat me to it. I was like, I was gonna make a comment, but I'm not gonna. And then Brandon's like, yeah,
Well, he
clearly
was
he did
gonna-
the obvious thing. He's like, come over, kid, sleep over.
Yeah, he had a sleepover with the kid so he could observe him.
Well, okay, let's not go deeper into that.
I'll take
I
the
mean,
rat
the-
sex.
Right?
I'm going back to the rat sex now.
I mean, to all the stories I read, they never mention anything happened, but
Let's just blow right past that, just like the Catholic Church does.
yeah.
I'm offending people.
So from what he found, he noticed that there was a lot of scratching sounds, like the family observed, and like the bed would vibrate. And at one time, a chair tipped over.
Nice.
So, and over time, the scratches started appearing over Roland's body in the form of words, stuff like hell and damn and things like that.
It's like a 12-year-old learning curse words for the first time.
Right. So the family started buying religious items. You know, crucifixes, Bibles, just stuff to put around the house.
Jesus bobbleheads, the basics.
Yeah.
That one
And,
statue of Jesus holding a thumbs up.
You talking about Buddy Christ?
Yeah.
Yeah, who doesn't want a Buddy Christ figure?
Right. So during this time, they tried to baptize him. And this put him into a serious rage that he had to be hospitalized for.
Right.
Well, it's understandable if it was like a surprise baptism, When people just come at you and start trying to dunk you in the fucking tub and shit.
And then they're all like, oh, you're being hysterical.
Fucking just take it, man. It's fine. I've seen some of those baptism things at churches, man. Some of them are pretty sketchy looking. Like some of them don't look like they get cleaned. You always see like a few bugs in the like a little bit of water they can't get drained out of there when they empty it out.
Oh,
Gross.
yeah. And
Bacterial meningitis or some shit.
You tried to drown me. You're overreacting.
Listen, you have to be as close to God as possible for it to take. So of course I got to get you there. You may continue.
Yeah. So while he's in the hospital, they got some psychiatrists to start treating him, and then by the next month, like that's when they decided to move the kid to Normandy, Missouri.
I thought you were saying they were shipping him off overseas. You said Normandy, and I don't go
Better
instantly
than
to fucking
Normandy,
Missouri.
France.
I was like, what the fuck? Oh, fix this kid? War.
Yeah, and of course the psychiatrists all give up. They couldn't figure out what was going on because it's 1949. Their only suggestion was probably to attack electrodes to his head or shove a pike up his nose.
I'll get all about
Hell
it.
yeah.
And of course, the family becomes more religious during this time, and so they called in two Catholic priests, a Father Raymond Bishop and a Father Boyden. And Father Boyden is the one who the diary belonged to. They started like spending a lot of time around the family, like they were there basically every day during this. Boyden at one point put a crucifix under Roland's pillow and blessed him.
They were always eating the food out of the fridge.
Well, they did that in fucking Poltergeist, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, after he left, he said that there was a loud noise that came from the room, and a large bookshelf was moved, a bench was flipped, and the mattress with Roland on it was shaking violently. And of course, that the mother yelled for Aunt Tilly to stop, and that's what made it stop.
So he still thinks it's Aunt Tilly, so does she think Aunt Tilly was a bitch?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh my God.
You never knew Aunt Tilly like they did.
It sounded like he liked Aunt Tilly. I wouldn't imagine if it was Aunt Tilly, she'd be this like, I don't know, whatever.
Well, part of it
Sully
was
and
like,
the good name of Aunt Tilly.
like they describe Aunt Tilly as being like a prankster and someone who pulled jokes on people.
Oh yeah, you know what's one of the best jokes you can pull on your nephew? A fucking scratch words like hell and damned into his skin. Like, gotcha. Oh, Aunt Tilly, you jokester.
What, your aunt never did that to you?
No. Oh no. She did. She definitely wouldn't be my favorite aunt.
Right. So the church then went ahead and declared this as a demonic possession, because no doy.
I hope as they declared that they smacked the mom and it's like, so stop calling the demon Aunt Tilly.
Stop naming demons.
God damn it. What is your name, demon? Aunt Tilly. Son of a bitch.
Find out she was a demon all along.
The whole time. I always thought that
Weird.
bitch was wearing a wig.
Right. I always wondered why her house smelled like sulfur.
You know what? I'll take the demon over Aunt Tilly.
Rat sex it is.
Yep. So the church gave the priest formal permission to perform an exorcism, and both Father Raymond and Father Boyden, with the help of a Jesuit scholar, started performing the ritual.
Hey, what scholar?
A Jesuit scholar.
Bless
so
you.
the Jesuits are a sect of Catholics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You know
they're like
what?
a
For
small subset.
I want one of these stories at one point in time. I want us to cover one where instead of being like this generic like, and then they got the Catholic priest involved. I want them to be like, and then they got the rabbi, because Jewish people don't fuck around with this stuff. Like they've got Dybbuk boxes. They roll up in there and they're like, oh yeah, Aunt Tilly's a demon. They're leaving with that bitch crammed in a box. Catholic priest, it always seems like it ends with somebody dead and the Catholic Church just dropping anybody that was attached to it like a hot potato. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Somewhere. I wonder how much of that kind of stuff is in the Kabbalah.
I don't know. Like I said, I definitely eventually, there are a few Dybbuk boxes that are like pretty famous in the supernatural world. We'll have to get to them at some point. But it would just be nice to hear like a story like this, and then they call on a different leader of another faith and just to see how they handle it, you know?
Oh, and something that's weird about the story is like the family is Lutheran, right? So it's like, how did they make the jump from a Lutheran priest to the Catholic Church?
Isn't Lutheran just a Catholic denomination?
No, Lutheran is its own denomination.
I don't know shit about shit, so I can't weigh in on this one.
It's just, just an odd jump. They don't mention it, like why they went to the Catholic Church.
It probably was the fact that one was more ready to hop in and help than the other.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Their main church was probably like, oh, boys will be boys, and the other church was like, oh, it's a demon. We'll roll up and kick its ass.
Okay, yeah, Lutheranism is a Protestant.
Yeah, they are more similar to the Catholic Church than like other Protestant religions, but they are still Protestant. But yeah, basically the ritual, they did multiple rituals within a month, and Roland was constantly being moved from like this house in Missouri to the Alexian Brothers Hospital in St. Louis. And during this time, Roland was very big on like dramatic outbursts. He would curse. It said he would vomit. He would spit all over the place. Yeah, he would scream out Latin phrases, which, according to the family, he would not know at all. At one point, they said that during one of the exorcisms, he allegedly slipped out one of his hands from the restraints and broke a bed spring from under the mattress and started to use it as a weapon, slashing the priest's arm.
Oh, God damn it. I've had being friends with Kyle, I've had multiple furnitures where springs have broken, like my old lazy boy I used to have. And when them fuckers break, they are sharp.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot imagine someone weaponizing that shit.
Oh yeah, and they said like there was stuff like he had like the strength of a grown man and things like that. They said at this point, because of everything that's going on, the family converted to Catholicism. And they decided to give him his first Holy Communion. And afterwards, there was a 6-inch portrait of the devil that was carved into his calf.
God.
Ew.
You say portrait, it's got to be better than it's got to be more than just like a stick figure with horns. Portrait sounds pretty articulate.
Yeah, they said it had horns. It was like raising its hands up in a taunting gesture.
Had a huge dick.
Yeah.
The girth
that's what's
was
important.
impressive.
It was. God. Boy, no carving in my calf whatsoever. No, thank you.
Yeah, in the diary at one point it talks about how the bed stood up at one point and, would just violently shake with him in it. At one point, the priest asks, "Who are you?" And of course, he, from the line of the movie, he says, "We are Legion."
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. And then it said in April 18th, which is at the end of the month when they were in the hospital, the boy started saying stuff like "be gone," and his voice dropped. And it is believed that he was possessed by the angel Michael because he had like a vision of a flaming sword casting the demons out from him.
And you must think you're pretty special if you think Michael's hopping your bones to fucking kick out a demon.
Right?
Because that isn't just like angel. That's like top tier
angel.
Angel right there. That's a higher up.
Right. And then at that point, he apparently started acting like a normal kid again. Said it was all done. The hospital allegedly boarded up the room because of how traumatic the whole situation was. But that's when Peter read this vague short article on this kid and decided to write his book. Now, the Jesuit Father Halloran, he actually speaks against what was in the diary. He was the Jesuit scholar who was there for the exorcisms. And he said, there was some crazy things that was going on, but nowhere near as bad as what the diary said or what was in the movies. He claimed even at some points they had 40 people in the room watching these exorcisms. But he claims that the kid's voice never dropped. He said the kid never vomited, he never urinated anywhere. He did spit a lot.
Oh, yeah. He was a spitter though. He never pissed on himself, but boy did he spit.
Yeah, but apparently that was something he used to do in school, and he could spray up to 10-12 feet.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, apparently he practiced that because the kid was known as a shithead. And
I was about to say, to be able to practice that, you must be a real piece of shit.
So what you're saying is he is especially good at expectorating?
Yeah, so apparently he claims that a lot of the stuff that happened can be explained with just the kid trying to get out of school.
God.
He's because the times the bed shook, he said the kid could have easily shaken the bed himself. And the furniture chipping over and stuff, he could have done that.
Could you imagine instead of being the classic, "Oh, Mom, I don't feel so good. My stomach hurts. I got to stay home." This kid's like, "Mom, I'm possessed by the devil. I can't go to school."
Right. And he claims that, he claims that, the Latin phrases he was saying and stuff, he was just imitating the priests.
Yeah, he's speaking Latin, but he's just saying shit like animal names that he would have learned at school.
Yeah, he said the main thing that was odd about the situation was that the wounds, the scratch marks and stuff, he doesn't believe were self-induced. But he says that he doesn't believe that there's enough evidence to say that there was a possession or not. So that's two conflicting views of between the diary of Father Boyden and Father Halloran's opinion. And Father Halloran was actually the last person involved who recently died. He died a few years ago, but he spoke up against the diary that was released. But what was odd about this too is in a lot of stories we've talked about before, a lot of times the family try and gets a book deal, they try and get movie deals and stuff like that. But throughout this entire thing, since the exorcism happened, they have tried to keep their names completely anonymous and stay out of any sort of, public spotlight. In fact, at one point, a reporter after the diary release, he claims that he actually found the person who, like Roland as an adult. And as when he tried to call in and interview him and talking to him about it, he's like, lose my number. Don't ever call me again.
Or I'll spit on you. Fair. That's fair.
Don't talk to me. I'm the devil.
Actually. And then he spit on me through the phone.
Very weird.
It's impressive. Well, it's nice to hear that they weren't trying to get a bunch of recognition. I am fucking that word. There you go. That word.
Yeah,
that's refreshing.
Yeah, like I said, there's some things that's a little different. Like it's nice, like seeing someone who was involved and is documented as being involved, like actively speak up against a lot of the supernatural stuff.
Yeah, he was like, listen, he might have been a little possessed, but he wasn't so bad possessed where fucking Michael was coming down and hopping his bones to give him a hand.
Yeah, and like some of the obvious stuff, like his head didn't spin backwards and he didn't vomit 20 feet.
Just spit 15 feet. It's impressive, but he practiced. That movie though, like, I mean, that just goes with my whole little girls are creepier than anything thing, because the case it was based on was a boy, but in the movie it was a young girl that was possessed.
Yep, Regina, right?
Yes, because it's more jarring, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean that's even a 13-year-old kid, like that can still be. Like think of like The Omen and how creepy that kid was.
Yeah, fucking Damien, that little bastard.
Right. But no.
I never looked too much, and I knew that movie was like loosely based off of like a real exorcism and everything, but I never looked into the source material of it. Exorcist is a great movie. I wouldn't say it's like my favorite. My favorite possession movie.
That genre.
Oh, it absolutely did. But to talk about one of the other cases you did, like the possession of Emily Rose is probably it rates higher for me as far as possession movies go.
And like we probably wouldn't have the possession of Emily Rose without The Exorcist. So it's cool to see like where it all started and what the inspiration was for it.
Those movies are are being redone now, I think, by Peacock, and like they spent like basically like almost all their budget on securing the rights for those movies to be able to remake them. So that's going to be a make us or break us type deal for them.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, because
I think they bought the rights for 4 movies right off the bat. So we'll see.
Hopefully they come out good. Like I said, hopefully we'll see more films where, people aren't making huge changes just for the sake of doing something different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like with The Exorcism. It's not a movie I would have went after to remake because it's an old flick, but it's an old flick that holds up.
Oh yeah, those practical effects are still good. Like that movie is still legitimately scary.
Yeah, it's nothing bonkers that's like there's not a whole lot you can add to that movie. Well,
I think the main idea
nailed pretty hard.
Yeah, I think the main idea between remaking it is to get younger people into the box office onto a streaming platform. Yeah. There are going to be a lot of people who watch it based off of seeing the original, but I think it's more to get younger crowds to consume it.
Yeah,
and it's easier to do that with a new film rather than trying to say, "Hey, come watch this old film."
Yeah, hopefully they don't do like they did with the Psycho remake. Because I
don't think I ever watched the Psycho remake, but
yeah, it stars Vince Vaughn as Patrick Bateman. Not Patrick Bateman.
I have never seen Vaughn. The only horror movie I've ever seen Vaughn in was Freaky, and that was a great movie.
Well, it was weird because like they tried to do like a shot for shot remake, but in color. And they were doing like the script was word for word to the original movie, but it does not work. It is terrible.
Well, yeah, and it's also like Hitchcock movies aren't really movies you also need to fuck with because Hitchcock movies are very much movies of their time, and the whole black and white thing adds to the horror of a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah.
And when
it
you're
adds
like,
to the
when you're,
spookiness.
especially if you're going to just remake it shot for shot, basically, at that point, like you just that's a massive fucky.
Yeah, and like I said, Vince Vaughn was just awful in it. Like he had like no emotion to his face whatsoever. You know, when talking about Mother.
Oh God, I fucking hate mommy issues. That's just horror all over it for me, right there. You know, it doesn't even have to be a real horror movie. Just show me a dude with mommy issues, and it gives me the Wiggins. Yeah,
But you know what is good? Bates Motel.
I've heard
That
it.
was a
I've
good
never got
series.
around to it, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, that was good.
It's another mommy issue thing. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Bates Motel is like the prequel to Psycho.
Well, that's worse because that means that's more him interacting with his mom.
Oh, I thought that was a prequel to the Silence of the Lamb.
No,
You say
no,
it's
no,
not?
no, no.
No.
No,
Bates
it's Psycho.
Motel. Yeah, Bates Motel is a prequel to Psycho. Like,
Which, Brandon, I don't know if you've watched any of the Psycho sequels, but they get pretty fucking nutty.
oh yeah, I've seen all of them.
Oh yeah, because there's the one where like they let Norman Bates out of the fucking loony bin because they're like, you're all fixed.
And then they drive him crazy again.
Yeah, it's fucking horrible. Oh,
Yeah,
so bad.
Norman
so
Bates.
good.
That's his name. Norman
Yeah.
Bates.
Old Norman. They're like, you got the green light. You're good to go. You're not nutty anymore. And then he just oh God, it's rough.
And then like the kids like drive him nutty again.
Insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. It just goes to show you that with cinema, they've the whole fucking milking something till it's dead is not a new concept.
Oh yeah.
They were doing it. They were doing it in the fucking 70s and 80s too. I mean, hell, with how many Jaws movies we got the one Jaws movie where the mother has some kind of psychic connection with Jaws.
Well, and how many like Texas Chainsaw Massacres did we get?
Oh yeah. Same with the Amityville. We got a metric fuck ton Amityville movies before the 80s were even over. There was probably like 4 Amityville movies that were done. Fucking there's so many. One of the podcasts I've mentioned before, Werewolf Ambulance, I got to check it out. They just watched Maximum Overdrive and put out an episode about it, so I gotta watch that. That's another fucking classic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it is.
just pull up a list of like what's coming out that's like remakes. Apparently, they're remaking Last Train to Busan, but in New York. Which
Yeah,
that'll be good.
so they're just I would call that more of an interpretation then, huh? Because
Yeah, they're just
taking the concept and
Americanizing it.
Americanizing it.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Yeah.
common thing.
Yeah.
Usually, it usually turns out pretty well. I mean, The Ring was a Americanized from a Japanese film.
I never
The Grudge.
Yeah,
two
The
movies
Grudge.
that I will 100% honestly say as a horror fan I have never watched either. They just weren't when they came out, that type of movie was just not my cup of tea, you know? I always grew up a big like slasher and everything. And then it was just like back to back because they were like right next to each other, you know? It was
Yeah.
back to back like little girl horror-esque movies, you know? You got The Ring, it's the little bitch coming out of the TV. And then you got The Grudge, which it's the creepy bitches coming out of the attics and shit.
Ooh.
And like, I mean, I'm a huge Sarah Michelle Gellar fan, and I didn't watch that, and she was in it.
Oh,
So-
God, they're remaking Arachnophobia.
Oh, see, that's another one you don't need to fuck with. That movie was. I hope John Goodman gets to come back for that though. If they're doing
Yeah.
Arachnophobia again, just cast him to play the fucking exterminator again. You
Oh,
I'd be for it.
American Werewolf in London.
don't fuck with that. That movie's perfect as is, and the practical effects in it are outstanding.
Anaconda.
Oh, I'll go any big animal movie. I'm down for. I'm stoked for Cocaine Bear, and I think that comes out this
Oh
month.
yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
That looks rad as shit.
They're doing a Thing remake.
They've done that already. Well, the other one they did was technically a prequel they made that came out a few years ago, and that was a damn good flick.
Was that Thing or was that? No.
No, that was it.
No, that
Well,
was
no, that was the thing. The one, yeah,
the Thing.
yeah. They did a prequel of a few years ago that was outstanding. I really
They're
enjoyed.
redoing Little Shops of Horror.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
don't know.
Little Shop of Horror. I wonder if they'll go with like the theater ending.
Who knows? Just like no Rick Moranis just kind of makes you sad, you know.
Well, the theater play ends with Audrey 2 taking over the world and killing all the humans.
Well, they did make a cut of that for the movie that got cut. Like you can actually watch the scene.
Oh wow, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they filmed this. They filmed the scene of it. They just never used it because it just showed a bunch of Audreys all over like New York and shit.
Oh, the Blob's getting a remake. Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I was wondering when they were going to get around to the Creature because they've done a little bit of everybody, but the Creature's always kind of got pushed to the back.
And part of it too, why it kept getting pushed back was Universal was wanting to set up their
Monster universe.
Yeah, their monster universe, and so that crashed and burned.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It needed to.
No, you can't fuck with you. The mistake is they fucking started off by trying to do the Mummy as the launching point, and everybody loves that OG Mummy movie. Not technically the OG; it wasn't the first, but Brendan Fraser Mummy.
It had nothing to do with Brendan Fraser's movie.
No, it didn't. But it was called The Mummy, and everybody was like, fuck this. If it's not Brendan Fraser, we don't want it," which is fair.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, though, if they took the universe created by Brendan Fraser's The Mummy and made that a monster universe?
People, I mean, right now, I guarantee you, with how the resurgence of Brendan Fraser, especially after the whole him getting that award for The Whale and everything, I imagine Warner Brothers and DC are absolutely kicking the fuck out of themselves for fucking shit canning Batgirl after it was already wrapped with him as the villain.
There's actually been a lot of released stuff about it. They were saying that it was not in a releasable state. So there might have been they could be making up excuses, or it could be that there were some serious issues with the film and it would not have been received well.
Either way, most of the cast came out and said it was like completely done, and that Scoob movie they shit canned was done being animated as a whole.
All right, so
but like I said, people would have showed up for that movie just for Brendan Fraser.
Okay, so some things that have also been announced: Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2.
Yeah, it's already got greenlit.
Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing now. I mean, they've already done it with the Grinch. This year they had the fucking Grinch horror movie.
Yeah. We got Bambi the Reckoning.
Yeah, no. any classic cartoon character like that, especially Disney-wise, that is public domain is lifted on it, they're going to make it a horror movie now just because of all the hype that got stirred up when they announced Blood and Honey. They don't even have to be good. They'll just get funded because people are gonna make a big deal out of them because it's fucking goofy shit, you know.
I'm about it. It'll lead to a series of really dumb but hopefully fun horror films.
Yeah,
like I said, the Blood and Honey thing looks neat. I'm just upset that like Pooh resembles Pooh, but Piglet just looks like a boar man hybrid thing. It looks nothing like Piglet, you know.
Yeah. Apparently, there's also Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Thunder, which is a separate thing.
Jesus, it's just rough.
This is going to get ridiculous.
Hey, I mean, it already is.
I am all for it. February 15th. We need to watch that.
Yep, we'll put it on the list.
I've never watched it.
Only 10 days from now. We can just stream it in Discord.
We've done that all of I think twice. I think we watched technically 3 times if you count Matt's showing of Krampus that I think only him and Amber watched.
I think me, Amber, and Kyle watched it.
But we watched. Y'all made me watch Repos of Genetic Opera.
Yeah, yep.
Love
in
that
there,
movie.
I fucking move.
It is good for a one-time watch, and that is
fucking Kayla put on the fucking Little Glass Vial song the other day with Paris Hilton in it, and I started having PTSD from just like, and then you put the gun to your anatomy. It was just like, no. That and Willy's Wonderland we streamed once.
Oh yeah, that was good.
That's fucking. I love that movie.
Wonderland's
Yeah.
great.
That was a fucking awesome movie. That's what happens when they finally get Five Nights at Freddy's out. We just need to have an animatronic movie night where we watch the fucking Banana Splits movie, we watch Willy's Wonderland, and we watch fucking FNAF.
Hey, there's also the two Halloween horror films. One for Spirit, one that's the generic one.
Fun fact.
There's lots of
about-
animatronic options.
I never even got around to watching that Spirit
So
Halloween one.
fun-
I hadn't
fun
heard
fact.
anybody say dick about it.
Yeah.
Fun fact: do you all know who did the soundtrack for the Banana Splits horror movie?
No idea.
Patrick Stump.
I don't know who that is, but I'm a
That-
fan of his last name.
That's the lead singer for Fall Out Boy.
Weird. Maybe he was a Banana Splits fan.
Maybe.
Who knows? All I know is I'm excited for, like I said, I hope they do Five Nights at Freddy. I hope they lean it. I hope it's an R. I hope there's violence,
Yeah.
like good violence. I mean, it gotta be. Like the whole premise of the thing is
Yeah.
cramming kids' dead bodies into animatronic suits. You know? I
I
don't
didn't
know.
know that
I
was
know
the
that
actual war.
I know that Jim Henson's company is who's making the practical suits for that movie.
Oh wow.
So,
you know they're
I'm-
going to be good.
Oh, I'm for it. They're gonna look awesome. And as soon as they said practical effects, I was like, yes. And then they're like, Jim Henson's company. I'm like, oh god damn, yes. So Blumhouse has shelled out a significant amount of cash for all of that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
and I think they're said that if it goes well, they're planning on like 4 or 5 movie contract. So we will see. But that being said, let's do some fucking plugs, shall we? If you have listeners, if you have a case you would like us to cover, or you just want to tell us how we did, good or bad, you can hit us up at the United States of Paranormal at gmail.com. Or you can, if you listen on Apple or any of the ones that have written reviews, you can hit us up there and let us know how you feel. You can tell us that we talk too much, we don't talk enough. You can tell us just how your day's going. We'd like to hear from you. It's been a little bit since we've heard from someone.
Yeah. Nobody wants to talk to us.
Yeah, I know, it's sad. We tried to get y'all to tell us to have Brandon do something, and he didn't. So now he covered another possession story. Albeit this one was nowhere near as depressing as the last one. So
Yeah, it only lasted like a month compared to what, 12 years?
yeah, no, we don't have to relive that one. That was fucking horrible. We also have a website, the United States of Paranormal.com, where you can look up merchandise or just read our bios. Boozers are threatening to update their team photo with the new members soon, so we'll see.
Maybe.
And if you want to listen to something else, like maybe you want to listen to some true crime or pop culture adjacent podcast, or maybe you like sports ball or books or just genuine reviews of things, check out the other shows on the Golden Mojo Podcast Entertainment Electric Boogaloo. Mondays, we've got the Call Guys, which is Colton, or as they call him, Juan Kill 43, and Chico, where they usually do list of different movies, TV shows, music, anything you can think of they cover. Head on over there, tell them we sent you. At this point, I think Colton has more beef with Golden Jade than he does us, which kind of makes me a little sad. I felt like we worked I feel like we worked really hard for that beef, and then it's just like sports ball just took over, you know? Those fucking sports fans like to piss on each other's
all
shoes.
we have to do is just say their quarterback is only like half a quarterback.
I don't know enough about anything. All I know is the Chiefs are now going to the Super Bowl. So, and Jeremy was at that game where they won to determine that they were going to the Super Bowl. So he is stoked right now. So
Man.
you can go check out the Call Guys. On Tuesdays, you have Golden Image Podcast, which is a podcast with Golden J, Chico, and the Skywalker, and they review local Indiana places that they go to, albeit bars, shops, tourist destinations. They just talk about it. they go do stuff to hopefully inspire you to go do stuff. And then on alternate weeks, they do classic Golden Image Radio episodes, which is a project that Golden Jay used to do years ago when MySpace was a bold new frontier. And it was his little radio show he did back then. Wednesdays, you got us, Tusop. You got Team Boozers and Team Tejas. One team is much cooler than the other. I'm not going to name names, but you know us. Thursdays, you got the Indiana Chiefs fans, which is Golden Jay, Chico, and the Chief, and they talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and even know that they all live in Indiana. And then Fridays, we got 2 podcasts now. One is a bi-weekly, and that is A Court of Books and Booze, which is the Skywalker, Jessica, and I cannot for the life of me remember the other chick's name, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to say maybe Amanda? I can't remember. But their Glass Throne, I think, is the book they're covering. I gotta catch up. I listened to the first episode, and I haven't got to listen to the second episode yet. And we also have the Murd Nerds on Friday, which is ex-Boozers member Alicia and her homie Ashley and Golden Jay, and they cover true crime all over the world, where they well, a lot of times it's depressing, you know.
Yeah, it's okay. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of true crime for that exact reason. Like, all it does is make me feel sad.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Brandon's episode made me want to run myself a razor, his last one, so it just happens sometimes. But every now and then over there, they break it up, you know. They sometimes they talk about nice things, like animals that saved lives and stuff. But most of the time, it's just murder and sadness.
Yeah, like
Matt listened to the one with me about the Girl Scout troop that got slaughtered, and that was just infuriating.
Well, yeah,
everybody dropped the ball on that except for the Girl Scouts.
Well, it's like that's what always happens. Is like people are shitty and fuck around, and because they're shitty and fuck around, innocent people dies. It's just like that time you made me watch that documentary in plain sight.
No. Oh God! Don't bring up plain sight. Oh. Well, he just asked for relief, so I relieved him.
Like, this dude's sexually assaulting your daughter, and you're just jacking him off.
and your wife's fucking him too.
What?
Yeah, no, Brandon. Oh, you absolutely have to watch that documentary because it's like watching the Tiger King. You start it, and by the time it's done, you're like, what? What the fuck?
Did y'all hear the Tiger King news?
Oh God, no. What
they
now?
Found the husband.
Did they really?
Oh yeah, no, I knew that.
Yeah, he was alive in Cancun.
Oh, really? Seriously,
yeah.
He's 100% confirmed to be alive?
Yeah, he's 100% confirmed alive.
Motherfuck. Props to that guy.
Yeah.
He just fucking knew Carol Baskins was a fucking whack job, and he's like, I gotta fucking get out of here, homie. This whole time, everybody's like, that bitch killed her husband. He was in Cancun smoking a joint, and be like, yeah.
Yeah, he just fucked off.
Can you imagine him being there, and then he's like, oh, look, a new documentary's on Netflix, The Tiger King, and he watches it, and he's like, oh, fuck, they're gonna find me. Oh, that's nuts. I can't believe they found that dude.
Yeah, apparently the U.S. government knew he was alive this entire time.
They just didn't give a fuck enough. They're just like, it's not our problem.
Yeah, it's like, we can't tell anyone.
That's fucking bizarre, man. That was fucking the Tiger King's whole fucking thing was she murdered her husband. Now he doesn't have even that to stand on.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't have anything to stand on anyway. He literally tried to hire an assassin.
Yeah, the fucking Kmart brand assassin too. Yeah. Oh god.
It's like, how do you go about now knowing that the one thing that was keeping you going as a person, holding this grudge against another one, like the one thing you had was all a lie?
We might be spreading false news here too. I just Googled it and it looks like it's just speculation again. It says, as of now, stories and tweets that Tiger King stars Carol Baskin's former husband, Don Lewis, being alive and well are circulating again, but police officials, family members of Lewis, and the attorney all say Lewis remains missing.
Well, shit.
So who knows? Who knows? He might be out there. He might be tiger food. Who knows?
Hey, Lewis, if you're out there, hit us up at the United States of Paranormal at gmail.com and let us know you're alive.
Yeah.
We promise not to tell Carol.
Yeah, we won't tell Carol. We're not pro Carol. She's scary. They're all scary. Let's be honest. Big cat people are insane.
yeah.
That's the one thing I pulled away from that documentary. That something about big cats make people go fucking absolutely insane.
No. The thing from that documentary is that there are no good guys. They're all terrible.
Dude, like, I'm serious. I started that documentary one night. It was me and Kayla. We got in bed, and, like, we watched the trailer for it, and I was like, this looks weird. And we ended up watching the whole thing in one night because, like, at the end of each episode, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It
it
just
just
gets
kept-
more and more crazy every episode. It's like, this can't be real.
Yeah, and it just got worse and worse. And then all of a sudden, you technically end up watching a snuff film because that one dude dusted himself in security footage, and I was like,
Right?
what?
Yeah.
Oh, what? And what's his name losing his arm?
Oh, yeah, it was all it was all fucking insane.
Well, it's like one episode's like, yeah, I wanted to take care of big cats because I like big cats. 3 episodes later, and this bitch, and in the next episode, I'm now running for governor. What?
You know,
and then I hired a hitman. And you're like, what? What's happening?
you know, something they don't really talk about. They kind of like it's kind of quick in the early. Like, it might be episode 1 or 2. They interviewed the guy that is the inspiration for Scarface in that documentary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they did. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
They
Well,
did.
technically, we can also cover the Tiger King because you do know that place is speculated to be super haunted, and Zach Baggins even did a giant special at the Tiger King place.
I'm not surprised.
The scariest thing that happened in that documentary, the dude that they, one of the dudes that they said, the dude that claimed to have attempted to kill Carol Baskin was getting hired to do it.
Yeah.
He lives there now because the one douchebag ended up owning it all when homeboy went away.
Yeah.
They were supposed to do an interview with him at night, right? And they're like, who's supposed to be here? Is he in his trailer? And he was in his trailer sleeping. And Zach and them took it upon themselves to walk in his house while he was asleep with just their night vision. And that dude was still asleep on the bed, tossing and turning while they were fucking walking through his house. And I was like, you guys are going to catch a fucking bullet.
Yeah, that's Jesus.
At one point, he started to wake up. They all just book it out of his house in this documentary. It was bizarre. I don't know, man. It's all nutty. But yeah, now we segued into that. This has been the United States of Paranormal podcast. This has been Logan.
It's been Matt.
Boze.
There you go. He got his cue without being pointed at. Remember, people, don't have big cats. It'll make you crazy. Keep it spooky.
To support other Golden Mojo Entertainment productions, check out Golden Image Podcast, The Call Guys, and Murd Nerds wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. To see photos